Okay, good evening,
I like it a lot.
I said the same thing, Tom.
and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Waterville City Council. There are agendas on the table near the entrance or online at the city's website. Consent agenda items are routine in nature, which are voted on in one motion and vote. Unfinished or new business items are voted on separately. Councils will be given the opportunity for questions or comments, followed by citizens who must speak at the podium and identify themselves. Citizens will be allowed to speak one time per agenda item for up to 3 minutes. Citizens who do wish to speak on a topic that does not appear on tonight's agenda will have the opportunity to do so in the public comment section of the agenda for up to 3 minutes. All right, moving on to Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, any disclosure of conflict of interest? Any councilors have any conflict of interest on the votes that they'll take tonight? Seeing none, we will move on to this evening's city manager report. Brian?
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have some updates to report in the administration office. First of all, Sarah Cross is being promoted to the position of executive support specialist. She'll be taking on additional duties, including assisting with the budget and project management. Sarah has served with the city for 10 years. She's proven herself many times as a reliable and integral part of our team. And I'm excited for her to take on a larger role and continue to grow in her career and achieve some of the things that she wants to achieve in the future. So we're happy to have Sarah in her enhanced role. She'll still obviously be doing all the duties of her current position, but we're taking on some of these additional duties. Also very pleased to announce we have filled the special assistant position. I sent you guys all an email out in the last couple of days. Joe Grockmal will be our new special assistant. So in addition to some extremely impressive academic credentials, Joe has experience as a project manager in the town manager's office in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, which is his hometown. And most recently has served as a town planner in Kodiak, Alaska, a bit of an Alaskan adventure for him. So he brings a wealth of municipal knowledge that's really going to serve us well. In addition, he's a really energetic and an ambitious guy, which I think is exactly what we need as we pursue a lot of really great things here with the city, particularly our revitalization efforts. So welcome to Joe. He'll be here on the 15th and hope to have him at this meeting for an introduction.
Coming from Kodiak, Alaska, I want to know, does he like snow?
Well, I heard they actually don't get a ton of snow there. It's more like a marine climate, but he'll tell you all about it. So, also, as we discussed during the budget process, the last position with the non-renewal of the Growth Council contract was the economic development position. So we'll be looking to fill that later this year. But I thought it was a good idea to get a better feel for the current staff structure and where any gaps may be and get a better idea of exactly what we're looking for. So expect to see that position advertised later this year. My next city manager's open office hours for the public will be October 22nd, 3:30 to 5:30. Still deciding on a location, but we'll get that out as soon as possible. Of course, all Waterville residents and local business owners are welcome and encouraged to attend to share their thoughts, views, concerns, or anything else they'd like to share with me. Some events coming up. We have a Halloween event being organized this year by the city, particularly Michael Hall is working on that, along with the Chamber and Waterville Creates. So the event will feature live entertainment, kids activities, movies, as well as a trunk or treat. The event's going to begin at 12 noon on Saturday, October 26th. It will end at 8:30 p.m. With an adult Halloween contest at Silver Street Tavern. So thank you to all the city staff as well as community partners and sponsors for working to make this happen. It should be a really great event right here in our downtown. Also on October 10th at 6 p.m. we'll be having our next meeting for the Comprehensive Plan Committee Public Input Session. Again, that's October 10th, 6 p.m. right here in this room. And of course, all members of the public are welcome and encouraged to attend to share their thoughts and views on the next 10 years of Waterville and what it should look like. Our Appleton Street project, we're planning a community celebration event on Friday, October 18th at 3 p.m. It'll be right there behind the library on the new square. Also, our Rainbow Crosswalk was repainted by Public Works this past week at the corner of Elm Street, so thank you to them for that. Some utility boxes have been painted in the last week. Lastly, we're really just waiting for the arrival of our new light poles to go up and down the street in that area. Just a note that we are still following up with DEP on the Webb Road drainage issue due to the solar farm there. We have some residents that are severely impacted by drainage and runoff. I did place a call again today to DEP to try to get an update on their timeline of when they're going to be out to look at this. We would like to do a drainage ditch or swale or something to help mitigate some of the impacts of the runoff. So we're still on DEP to get some action there. Lastly, just please enroll in our city mass notification system, waterville-me.myfreealerts.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Sorry, one quick other thing. I just want to give Patty a moment to plug early voting and the election coming up.
Yes, thank you, City Manager. We've mailed out almost 1,000 absentee ballots today, so those were received and they're in the mail. So folks who have requested an absentee ballot should be looking for those. We're doing in-person absentee voting here at the Annex starting October 7th on Monday. In the meantime, people can request absentee ballots either online or over the telephone, and all that detail is on our website. We also have online voter registration, so if you've happened to move over the last few years, it might be helpful for you to update your address, or if you're new to Waterville, if you want to register to vote, please do so online. It's a quick and easy process, and it saves you from standing in line on Election Day. So on November 5th, we'll all be voting at the Thomas College Fieldhouse. We'll be opening at 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. We are running the shuttle again with the cooperation of Colby College, and we thank them for that, the use of their shuttle bus. And we have 3 stops every day on Election Day, every hour on the hour. We start at the Elm, and then we stop in front of Goodwill, and then we cycle to Thomas College, and then at the top of the hour, we end up back at the Elm. So we don't have a lot of ridership for that, but it is available, and we want to promote that. It's a free service to Waterville voters.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, any councilor comments or committee reports? Yes?
Anyone else? No.
No.
All right. Well, first, I wanted to report on the Community Resilience Partnership meeting that we had on September 18th. At that meeting, we had a new guest, a person named John Gardner, is a PhD in an engineer. He recently moved here from Idaho and is an energy consultant. He offered to do some pro bono energy efficiency consulting for the city, basically energy analysis and energy audit of the buildings here in the city. So we are pretty excited about that. That can provide us really important data for a number of grants that we have in the pipeline there. And then Michael Hall gave us an update on the EPG grant with the lighting in the City Hall. So to remind you, our application had been denied due to a failure to comply to BABA requirements. However, Michael was able to put in the extra effort and contact Casey in the governor's office, and was able to get the BABA requirement. So BABA just means all parts and assembly made in the United States. Was able to get that waived. So we're going to be able to go ahead with our original quote, which was very exciting for us, and we're moving to the next stage of getting the high energy efficiency lighting in the City Hall and in the police station. And then we talked about the Renew America's Schools grant for quite a lengthy period. John, this engineer that had offered to do the pro bono work and is a consultant, he has a consultancy firm that's worked on grants for Renew America's Schools out in Boise. He just talked about a tremendous amount of data and ways to leverage that data. And we talked about some action items. However, Peter Hallen, the superintendent of the schools, who was not actually present but chimed in later in an email exchange, decided that it's not a grant that the superintendent's office is interested in pursuing. So we're gonna go ahead with some other grant opportunities. The efficiency main charging station RFP. We talked about how there is a grant available for a level 2 single kiosk double-sided EV charging station. And we were looking for where to site that. We were talking about, so the owner of the Hathaway was not interested in putting one down there. We had multiple ideas that we discussed, one of them being potentially at the head of Falls, which seems like that might be the best option for a place to site this charging station. But one of our action items was to reach out to MDOT to see if we could create a new designated EV parking space somewhere in the city. So we're moving on that. Yeah, the MDOT is actually in my to-do basket. And then the community action grant, the new grant was released with the funding. You might remember it was $50K last time. It's been, the governor's office has increased that to $75K. And Peter Hallen in the superintendent's office has funding for heat pumps for the hall school separately. So we're reviewing our list of potential grant targets for that grant. We're very optimistic, but yeah, we're in the process of reviewing different possible lists and our priority hierarchy for the list of projects for that grant. And then there was an EPA grant. It's a $40,000 grant proposal. It's similar to the community action grant, has very similar funding agendas. That would cover all the municipal buildings, the schools, et cetera. And seems pretty simple. Grant due November 1st. So the brainstorming we're doing for the community action grant through the state should be ones that we can't get with that grant. Or we're thinking maybe we might stack stuff depending on what projects we focus in on. And then lastly, we considered a resiliency and sustainability statement that I had drafted. I drafted, not incredibly lengthy, maybe a page and a half statement about resiliency and sustainability for the city, and that is currently under draft review by the rest of the committee. And when we finalize that, I'll bring that forward for the council to take a look at. So, yep, that's that. And then I also, if you want to keep hearing from me here, let me pull it up, the notes from the Friends of Quarry Road board meeting, which I was at last Thursday. We're going to hear from them today, but these aren't the notes. This is the agenda. This might take me a minute to find the notes, but I can just read off the agenda and tell you what we talked about. So, we got a president's report from Hannah Bouchard where she updated the board on the annual appeal, the money that Friends have raised so far through their annual appeal. The community is, if you support Friends of Quarry Road, if you support what we do at Quarry Road, you're encouraged to contribute to that annual fundraising effort. So, and then we had the executive director report by Jennifer Kierstead, who's here in the audience. She talked about she was incredibly busy, actually pretty inspiring how much work this person is doing for the board. Gave us August highlights and gave us a grant and fundraising status. We're going to hear a lot about it later tonight, and it was quite a detailed report. I'm not going to go through all of it, but very exciting stuff, and it looks very optimistic that we are going to be able to move forward with the phase 1 of the improvements at Quarry Road, the projects that we're working on over there. And then there was discussion for another 15 minutes about the mini Alpine campaign. And we had committee updates from Joe Reisert and Mike with some discussion of that, and then some input from Jeff Tucker, the program director at Quarry Road. Kind of sort of a little bit of a reality check as to what is possible this year, vis-a-vis payment for the snow guns, and then what actually the implementation will be. And then there was an update on some property that is adjacent to Quarry Road that we're hoping to be able to expand some of the holdings at Quarry Road at 8 Oakland Road. Yep. Then, we went through different committee reports and had a long, very informative report from Jeff Tucker about things happening at Quarry Road. So I'm going to end it there, but I won't into too much more detail. Oh, last thing I wanted to say is thank you to the city manager for installing that beautiful new bike rack in front of City Hall. I've used it a number of times. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Please, please do. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's excellent.
And thank you, Public Works, for
Yep, Matt, thank you.
It is the Tom Klepak bike rack, so just we're informally dedicating that to you.
Okay.
So.
I'll take it, whatever.
All right, thank you. Any other council committee? Tom?
This is more of a request than anything else. It's time for everybody to get inundated with campaign signs. And once again, the two islands over at the intersection of KMD and Carter Drive, where the ladies have spent all summer trying to keep them flowers alive, can we try and stay out of there? We've got all of Carter Drive, we got KMD, West River Road, Silver Street. It's only going to take one staffer, hot and bothered, trying to do something early on a Sunday morning to stomp all them flowers. Can we please keep the signs out of those two islands? They make a valiant, and none of this has been, none of the flowers and stuff you see there are the city. That is the South End Neighborhood Association trying to beautify their neighborhood. So could we please try and stay out of those islands? That's all I'm asking.
Do or do not. There is no try. So just say no. That's what Nancy Reagan taught us. Okay, any other public comments? Council committees? Seeing none, we're going to move on to public comments. Again, public comment is a time for citizens to come up and speak at the podium on any item that is not listed on the agenda for up to 3 minutes. Anybody in the audience wish to speak at public comment this evening? Patty, do we have anyone on the line? Moving right along. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Motion to move.
All right. All those in favor? Thank you very much. I can also entertain a motion to read by title only.
Read by title only.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. All right. Moving on to old business, ordinance 179, 2024.
Amend the zoning ordinance, apartments and commercial zones.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, after last meeting, I spent time talking to several counselors and the mayor, and there is an amendment that I'm going to be offering that limits the scope of this ordinance, meeting with Ann on Thursday.
Sorry,
Yes.
before you go and say what I think you're going to say,
Yes.
there are some people here that may want to speak. Do you want to entertain that before you say the words that end everything? Or do you want to just...
I'll wait to make the motion, but I'll speak to it.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. So basically, I'm crafting an amendment that's going to narrow the scope a little bit, and in the interest of giving council time to look at it, I will be asking for more time before we vote on it tonight, but if people would like to speak to it, that would be good information to have going into this meeting with Ann on Thursday. And I would have had it sooner, but just with schedules and everything, we just ran out of time in the last 2 weeks to kind of get everything together.
Okay. Anybody want to speak? Oh, now he doesn't want to speak. Fair enough.
Okay, well, in
Move
that
on.
case,
Thank you.
now I will make a motion to postpone to the October 15th meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? No discussion? Perfect. All those in favor? Okay. Wonderful. Moving on to Order 189, 2024.
Acceptance of a 2023 FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Patty, can I get a roll call?
Counselor Gilly,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yep.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Gagnon,
Yes.
Counselor Finch,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick,
Yes.
vote is 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
Thank you. Moving on to Order 190, 2024.
Accept the Stanton Foundation grant to establish a second police K-9 team.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. Patty, can I get a, oh, okay, what?
Well, I just want to say that I do have some concerns about adding programs to our that have an impact on the budget down the road. I asked for some clarification, and I just want to confirm that this grant is going to cover the cost of this program for the next duration.
Major?
So like I said before, it doesn't cover the stipend that we pay the handler. The only thing that it doesn't cover down the future, or in the future, might be food and medical bills of the dog. Our current dog that we have right now, we still have thousands of dollars left in that grant, and we're 3 years into the process, so it's impossible for us to know exactly the money that's there. Once it runs out, those medical bills and food would fall upon us to purchase those out of budget. But it's impossible really to know. I guess if the dog had severe medical problems, we do have health insurance on the dog. So I know, because the horror story that we heard from York PD is that their dog actually ate some crack and had like a $10,000 medical bill. So we got health insurance so that we did not have that type of unexpected cost in the future. But the thousands of dollars that are left in our K-9 grant from the first dog, the dogs, their teams, I say life expectancy, the dog will live longer than 8 years, but typically a dog runs for about 8 years in service and then retires at home with the handler. Once the dog retires at home with the handler, all of ownership is transferred to the handler, and then all the expenses become theirs. He basically retires to become a family pet. So I anticipate that 100% of the food and medical bills will be covered by the grant, but there's no way to say for sure. Once that money runs out towards the end of his life, it may be, at the point where he runs out and has severe medical issues at age 7, we would probably just retire the dog and not continue to pay for those expenses.
Thank you. I do appreciate your response to my email with those details, and I just want to reiterate that I think the program is a great one. It's just it's very hard when we're looking at adding new programs. We have to be careful about what the impact is long term. So, thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions? Councilor Finch?
Question, is this a competitive grant that other cities, well, first of all, is it a competitive grant?
I'm not sure how competitive it is, because I think anybody who's interested in starting a K-9 team can apply for it. I don't know if there's, like, they only hand out so many a year. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, so this isn't a case where other cities in Maine who don't already have a K-9 team might have applied and, they lost out to us kind of a thing.
Correct. We just recently applied for it, so.
Okay,
And it was actually really a rather quick process of applying and getting it. I think it's one that continues, like, it doesn't, not that we're going to, because I think that 2 dogs is probably the maximum size
Yeah.
for our agency. But we could apply for a 3rd one or a 4th one if we were interested in doing that, but I don't think that there's enough need. I think 2 dogs is probably the perfect size for our agency.
okay, thank you.
Councilor Gagnon?
I spoke to a friend who's a councilor in another municipality about the possibility of looking at, like, regionalizing this, since the dog often will go to other communities when in need. And I got a cold reception because the feeling was that the mutual aid agreement between police departments includes that. So when they need a dog, they call Waterville. I guess that troubles me a little bit, but it's smart on their side, I guess, that Waterville, manages the program. I guess my question is, has anyone ever looked at the possibility of?
I don't think we've looked at regionalizing it. I do know that, like the mutual aid, like you said, we don't have, for example, any accident reconstructionists in our agency. So all fatal motor vehicle accidents require an accident reconstruction or serious motor vehicle. We rely on other agencies to come in and do those for us, on the mutual aid. So, where we have a K-9 for service for them, like state police may come in and do a reconstruction. I've had Oakland PD do a reconstruction for us on a near fatal accident. So it's kind of like a main thing in that resources have to be shared, because we're not NYPD that has 35,000 officers, so, and we can't have, we have 33 or 32 sworn officers. We can't have an expert in every field, so we have to rely on mutual aid.
So the K-9 is not separate from the police department. That's considered mutual aid.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Okay, with that, where are we at? Order. Can I get a roll call, please, Patty?
Counselor Gilly,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak,
Yep.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Gagnon,
Yes.
Counselor Finch,
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
Vote is 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, moving on to ordinance 191, 2024.
Amend the purchasing ordinance, Chapter 61.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
This requires a roll call.
Oh,
as
ordinance,
well.
sorry,
Yep.
my bad.
Sorry.
Yep, okay, roll call, please, Patty.
Counselor Gilly,
Yes.
Counselor Klepak.
Yep.
Counselor Green,
Yes.
Counselor Gagnon,
Yes.
Counselor Finch.
Yes.
Counselor McCormick.
Yes.
Vote is 6 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, thank you. There goes the no-hitter. New business, resolution 194, 2024.
Disposition of foreclosed property, 26 Reddington Street.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Brian, you want to provide a little?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a residential property the city acquired, tax acquired, back in February of 2022, 26 Reddington Street. It is a sort of early 1900s house, a bit of bungalow style. Does have some nice woodwork, some nice detail. It is in very poor condition overall. The roof is caving in. It needs a lot of work, needs a lot of attention. So it's been sitting sort of on the city's books the past couple of years. I think the sooner we try to move it along and hopefully someone tries to rehab it or do something with it and turn it into housing and also improve the neighborhood, the better. So we would like to move it along. However, as you probably all know, The laws have recently changed due to the Hennepin decision of the Supreme Court, and then some legislative changes that happened here in Maine. So the old process is out, where we could just sort of acquire a property, tax foreclosure, and then sort of decide how we want to dispose of it. Usually it was by competitive bid or whatever we want to do. So the requirements now are we have to notify the previous owner of a potential sale within 90 days. And we are also required to list the property with a real estate broker. And we are required to sell it for at least the assessed value. When that happens, we can then recoup what we are owed in back taxes, plus any administrative or maintenance fees that have been incurred during that time that the city has owned it. But the rest of those proceeds go back to the previous owner. So we go through all this process. We get our back taxes back, plus any fees and expenses. But the rest of that goes back to the previous owner. And again, we're required to sell it at least the city assessed value. So in this case, it's $71,400 is the assessed value. So we would have to list with a broker and hopefully get at least $71,000 for it, which looking at the condition of the house is, I think, already maybe going to be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll see. So that's the process now that's required by law. But we would like to kick this process off at some point and hopefully get this house back into someone's hands that is going to do something with it and improve the condition.
What lot number is it?
So there's a map in your
Yeah, I've got the
packet,
map,
so-
but all I've got is 26 Reddington Street. It
Yeah,
doesn't
so
tell me what the
it's
lot
lot
number is.
245 on this map that's in your.
Okay,
in your
thank you.
packet. Yep.
And can you clarify one other thing? Like, once we've taken possession of it, back taxes do not accrue, right? So if we
Right.
can't move it, if it's just a black hole.
Correct. It's not on the tax rolls, right?
Yeah.
So that's another point, obviously, is to get it back on the tax rolls and have income coming in there.
Yeah. That's
So if it's sold, you may have mentioned that, but if it's sold, the prior owner gets
Yes.
the proceeds.
The one who we foreclosed on gets all of the proceeds beyond, again, what the back tax is owed, plus any fees that we've incurred, plus the real estate broker fees, actually, too, are in there.
Do they have the right of first purchase?
Yes, they have an opportunity to redeem. That's a certain window after the foreclosure action happens. So that has been obviously exhausted. This is 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
But we are, again, required to provide, I think it's 90 days notice that we intend to sell the house now.
What happens if we can't sell the property?
That's what he said.
So there is a piece in the law, you have 12 months to try to sell with a broker. If you're not successful there is another step. I don't have it right in front of me that I think you can move to another form of sale. Maybe you're allowed to competitive bid at that point. But you have to list it with a broker for at least 12 months and try to sell it for at least that assessed value.
Fair enough.
Can I ask how much is the back taxes?
What we took it for back in 2022, yeah, I don't have that number in front of me. We can easily get that at the tax collector's office. Well, it was at least 18 months of whatever the taxes are on that house. So I would say, I'm guessing less than $5,000 or $6,000.
Too bad to lose the house over that.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Moving on to Resolution 195, 2024.
Disposition of foreclosed properties, Sunset Terrace, land only.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay.
So this one, same deal, but this is kind of an interesting piece of property. It's made up of two small lots. The one borders the Messalonsky Stream, just down from Councilor Klepak's dock, actually. It's land only. You can see on the map, lot 121 is a non-buildable due to it not meeting minimum lot size requirements in a shoreland zone, so you cannot build on it. There is an idea here that there may be some public use for this lot. It does border the Messalonsky Stream. It is a potential kayak launch point or another just potential piece of access to the stream that the public could potentially use. So there, is an idea that the city retains these lots. The lot 121 could be used just simply as an area where people pull their cars off if they did want to put their kayaks in or whatever they want to do as far as access to the stream. Again, these are two very small lots, not a huge yearly tax bill here, so there is some public benefit. As far as stream access, it is pretty level there as far as getting into the stream. But so we can either try to retain, or it would be the same process that I just mentioned. They would go with a broker, and we would, as I said, go through the same process.
Counselor Finch?
So if one of the abutters purchased lot 121, would they be able to put an ADU on it?
So Ann told me today this is non-buildable. I would take non-buildable as you cannot put any residential structure on it.
But that, I'm
But-
assuming, is a full-size house, and Ann left, but there are different requirements for ADUs, and
Yeah,
I would
that's-
think that if one of the abutters, my reluctance to retain this as a city property is that this is a not very well-traveled street. I'm sure the neighbors are used to not having traffic come in and out and in and out, and we would be turning this essentially into a very public area if we did this. That's just my hesitancy. It's not only a Sunset Terrace, a not well-traveled street, the street that connects to it. Morrill is also not a very well-traveled street. And if an ADU is able to be built there, it might be something that one of the neighbors are interested in. And so I'd like some clarification on that before, I guess I wouldn't vote to retain this as city property.
Counselor Gavin?
I guess I'm a little confused. So what we're voting on is to sell it or to retain?
Well, it's up for discussion. We're going to decide here whether we want to sell it or retain it. If we were to retain it, the process, we still have to obtain an appraisal of what it's worth. And again, any difference there between taxes owed and what the appraisal is, in this case, if we wanted to retain it, we would actually have to pay the owner, the previous owner.
Counselor Lepek?
Yeah, so I know a little bit about this property, actually. It is just a couple doors down from me, but it falls short of a buildable property by 2 feet. I believe the frontage is 98, and the law says 100 feet of frontage. So, however, the property line is like right on the edge of the abutter's property, like less than a foot away from their building, their house, or whatever. So, yeah, I think, to Councilor Finch's point, it would probably be extremely disruptive to those people that live in that house because it's right on top of them, and for all intents and purposes, those people have been treating it as their property, sort of. You don't have the assessed value in front of you? The owner had been trying to unload it for, they were asking like 10 grand or something like that. And
The assessed value is very small. I don't have it in front of me, but it's very small.
yeah, right. Well, it wasn't moving at 10 because what are you going to do with it? But yeah, it's a complicated thing that involves that abutter there because they definitely are like right on top of that chunk of property. But weren't we just talking about relaxing the building codes about frontage there? So, I think it would be a difficult site to build on.
So we could table this one pending more information, or we could do what we did with the last one and vote to move forward with the process of disposing with a broker.
Who needs more info?
Move to table.
Do we have a second?
Sure.
That way we can get Anna back here and she could answer a couple questions. Ms. Beveridge, get her here, and If you got any questions about it, we can go from there. As I'm looking at the picture, there's only 2 people that are gonna utilize that, and that's the abutters. And once they acquire it, all they have to do is get a survey, and a line gets erased, and they have a larger piece of property. That's,
I mean, it seems like the smart disposition for
That's-
the property, but
All right, well, we have a motion to table on the floor. All those in favor?
So that was Clepac and McCormick,
I think that
Faber and Green.
as well.
So it's 3-3.
oh,
All
man.
right.
Go
We'll
man.
table this and get everybody the information they need.
So you're a yes to table?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to Resolution 196, 2024.
Approved bid award to O'Connors for the purchase of an airport operations pickup.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. Any, let's see, let me put what- Randy, you want to talk about this one, or?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So yes, so this would be a vehicle that will end up replacing the SUV I currently have, which is not in operation right now. It needs a few $1,000s more worth of work. It spent a little over a month in the shop the last time. So we've been without it for the last 2 months, just kind of looking at the use and kind of doing an overall evaluation. This was something we had earmarked out of our solar funding to replace. I was waiting to do it until we got further into our building project and the other projects that we've just recently approved. Now that we're underway on those, we know financially where we're at. I felt comfortable coming in and moving on with this, and then kind of got my hand forced at the same time, so.
What are you using right now for a vehicle?
Right now, my own.
So you're using your personal?
Right,
All right.
because the work car is parked.
And I see that the request was to exceed 45,236, and what is being requested is available in the airport solar reserve account. So would this have any burden on Waterville or anything like that?
No.
Just out of the reserve account?
Yep.
That's easy.
All right, any other counselors? Counselor Gagnon.
Although it's coming out of the reserve, it was part of the budget.
No. So when we built had the third-party company come in and do a proposal for solar, we negotiated a fee to them, and they paid it $500,000 up front for the rights to build the solar farm. So we've used that for the last several years to pay for local share on all of our projects, matches for the FAA grants, and our building project, garage, those things.
So after this purchase, what will be the balance of that fund?
Right now, we have about $104,000 available in there. So after this, minus 45. So we'd still have over 50,000 available, and all of our projects for the next 2 years are already covered for local share.
So did you say this was in the budget for 2025, or?
No,
No, okay.
no, it was something that I knew I would like to propose to do with the solar funding, but it was waiting until an opportune time when I knew more financially of what the other projects were gonna cost. So now that we've hashed that out, I also had my hand forced, so here I am.
Okay.
So the 45, is that for the truck itself? I'm reading it right now, or does that include any of the things that may be added to it?
It includes the things that need to be added to it. So the vehicle we're trading in, minus the cost of the vehicle, that difference was 30,000, and then I asked for up to 15 to do the outfitting and upfitting for the vehicle. Runway friction monitor, the one we have, I've had for the last 13 years. Can't get parts, can't get it repaired anymore. So that's a $5,000 unit. So that eats up a good chunk of that already, before lighting, anything else.
Any other questions? All right.
So I may have missed this, I apologize, but you're coming to us now with this request because your expenses were less than anticipated? Did I understand that correctly?
Expenses for,
You would need from the funds from the solar farm?
no, not exactly. I wanted to ensure that the priority projects were covered. And I wasn't sure where the building was going to fall in terms of labor, materials. And we've determined that.
Oh, that's what
Yeah.
that's what I meant,
Yes.
right. So
Right.
the answer is,
So now I'm
Yes.
comfortable going, I didn't want to come in
Right.
and ask for a vehicle, because I was hoping to get a little bit longer out of mine anyway, too. So,
Needs a truck.
need something.
Councilor Gagnon?
As you may have heard earlier, we're still trying to deal with that issue, the Webb Road, which is a direct result of the solar farm.
Separate solar farm, but yes.
And I'm just hoping that maybe we set aside money, because there's going to be probably some expense for the city to take care of that water drainage problem when we get permission. So I guess I just asked the administration to keep that money on tap to correct the problem.
Councilor Green?
so could we have someone speak to that? Is there money to address that problem in the fund?
I think a lot of the work could probably be done by Public Works in-house, until we have a better idea of what exactly it's going to look like, the solution. This is after DEP gives us some, advice. We'll have a better idea. But my guess is if we're talking about something simple as a drainage ditch or swale, I think Public Works can probably do most of that. So we don't have any actual numbers yet, but I get the point that we should be prepared to implement some sort of solution.
Any other questions for Randy? All right. All those in favor? Thank you very much. All right, moving on to Resolution 197, 2024.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Can I read it
Oh,
first?
sorry, Patty.
Thank you. Authorizing a regular municipal election to be held on November 5, 2024.
Move to adopt.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? What's that?
Let's vote against it.
Okay. We were talking about that earlier. We should, that would be kind of funny. We'd like to postpone, we'd like to table to another date. Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Thank you, and I have the municipal warrant that we're going to send down the line to have signatures from the councilors, so starting with Councilor Gilly.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Resolution 198, 2024.
Establishing hours for voter registration for the November 5, 2024 general and municipal election.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, right here. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the past, like the last election, we waived the evening hours because of no turnout. Are you expecting turnout this year?
Probably not, but there's enough work to keep us busy while we're here, even if the voters don't show up. We will, try to push it to the public as much as possible. We'll also allow for in-person absentee voting during those hours, because we'll have it over here.
Yeah.
So we may have a little bit of activity, but it's generally not super busy in the evening hours.
Okay, so it's not going to be a waste of staff time. You're still going to have like work to do even if no one shows up.
I
All right,
guarantee I will have work to do.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patty.
Yes.
All right, moving on to Order 199, 2024.
Approve hangar lease to Gardner Aviation North Ramp Lot 3.
Move to adopt.
Second.
All right, Randy? I know it's comfortable. Get up.
Some couches up here, maybe.
So another hangar lease, sign of the times at the airport. Good things are happening. We're continuing to grow. We were presented with an opportunity to base another turbine aircraft at the airport. This will be the second privately owned jet fuel-powered turbine aircraft. The guy has some big aspirations to what they're going to be doing, some chartering and other work with it. It's a very, very neat airplane. There's only, I think, 2 other privately owned ones in the state. So we're very excited about this. This will allow him to build a 80 by 80 hangar right next to where the skydiving operation is, and just down from where another 80 by 80 hangar that you guys have already approved is going.
And he came to you, or you recruited him? How'd you find this individual?
Through networking.
Yeah.
I've been kind of working on trying to get them to come to the airport for the last couple of years. And we've been able to do that. We've fostered a good relationship, and it's something I'm very excited about.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Just wondering, how many hangars are left for rent?
Well, it depends on how much more land you want to give me. So we have room for smaller hangars, a lot of smaller hangars. So we're looking at a handful of them that you guys have approved this year being built. We're in the process of getting that taxi lane extended and paved, which was approved. We have rows left, several rows left. There could be at least 30 to 40 more of those size hangars built. And of the larger hangars, we have space for maybe another dozen without doing any type of major expansion. So we have room for development.
I have a question along those same lines, just out of my own curiosity. I know it's sort of a different scale of airport to an extent, but the remarkable growth that you've been going through since I've been on the council, it's been exciting to see what's happening at the airport in Waterville. Does that track what's happening in Augusta? I don't really know what's happening at that airport. Is it a regional phenomenon, or is Waterville standing out in this regard?
Well, I like to think we're standing out in this regard. Some of the airports, like Augusta, are landlocked. They don't have the room for development that we have. And over the last 15 years or so, we've been positioning ourselves with runway improvements and navigational aids. Everything that we've been doing has been gearing us for growth. And then with the known expansion, with the city just in general, people are talking. And, whether it's with our police department or fire department, our library, the airport's no exception. And people want to be here. So.
Better runway.
Yes. Longer runway. Yeah.
All right, Councilor Gagnon.
So this will be additional revenue to the city for this. So my question maybe is to the manager, is whether or not, I think we had anticipated revenues, but is this over and above?
This is over and above.
Beautiful.
Of course, we won't see a big chunk of that with like the building taxation until it's built. But it will be an extra $1,000 in our budget that we didn't account for.
Excellent. Any other questions?
And gas sales as well.
Gas sales as well, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure that thing burns a lot of gas.
Yep.
Excellent. All right. All those in favor?
Thank you all.
Great.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Randy.
Thank you, Randall.
All right, moving on to Order 200, 2024.
Accept grant funds to match a $712,500 grant award from the Northern Border Regional Commission for Infrastructure Improvements at Quarry Road Trails.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Well, we have some representatives, I think, from Quarry Road. I think it would probably be best if we let them kick this thing off. Matt, you're welcome to come up as well. Don't be shy.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, so I'll get started if that's okay, and then I'll hand it over to
course.
Jennifer if there's any questions. First, we'd like to thank the Alpine Foundation for their support over the years. They've been with us since the very beginning. We started all this back in 2007, and Jennifer was actually part of that original application as well. So sincere thanks to the Alpine Foundation. This order follows the resolution accepted at the August 20th meeting for the city to provide its own matching funds through the 2021 recreation bond, surplus revenue from activities and programs at Quarry Road, as well as in-kind engineering in support and oversight of the project. Accepting the order for matching funds brings us very close, not quite there, to our full infrastructure goal for improvements, which include paving the road from the maintenance building to the Welcome Center, expanding the meadow lot. I believe that will provide about 180 year-round spaces, regardless of whether or not it rained the night before, which is a huge asset for us in upgrade. And also improving overall drainage around the whole meadow area, roughly 15 or 20 acres. So it will be great. With help, our timeline, with help from engineering, of course, we hope to develop the RFP for construction this winter, advertise late winter, and select a contractor in the spring. With some construction possibly beginning in the construction season of ’25, but the project will be complete by the end of the construction season of 2026. So we're very happy. This leverages 1.7 or 1.6 million in funds from several different sources, and I think Councilor Klepak was thanking Jennifer before. She's working her tail off on several different projects for us all the time, so couldn't do it without her either. So yeah, any questions? Jennifer maybe can help? Yeah.
Any questions from the council? Councilor Klepak, you look
Well, I know.
poised and ready to go.
Well, yeah. I don't actually have any questions immediately on the top of my head, except I want to underline what a long path it's been to get here, and how excellent it is that we're on the cusp of actually realizing this, and what a remarkable change it will bring to that facility. We've been this winter, we have the Eastern Cup and the Bill Koch Festival, two massive events that Waterville is incredibly lucky to have. And it's because we have this remarkable asset here. But anyone who spends any time at Quarry Road knows that the shoulder seasons can be a little bit rough. That road becomes a muddy, pockmarked mess in the late winter, and the meadow is like deeply rutted. It can be treacherous when it's frozen, and then when it begins to thaw, it is unusable. So these upgrades are dramatically needed there, particularly if we intend to expand our alpine aspirations as well. We're going to need these improvements to facilitate the access and the traffic that we're going to get in this beautiful place. So I just, again, really want to thank the donors, incredible list of different people that are coming together to make this happen. And just since I've been on that board, hearing all of the work that you've been doing, really above and beyond what would be normally expected of any kind of volunteer. It's a cool team around that is working with Quarry Road. Everyone with the city, members of the city, with Jeff and Matt and the rest of his team, and then the volunteers at Quarry Road, and then donors that are coming together to make it happen there. I'm really excited about it. Oh, and I wanted to say one last thing. I forgot to mention it in my counselor notes. Season passes are now available at discounted preseason rates until November. So if you want to ski this winter at Quarry Road, now is the time to jump on your season pass.
Excellent. Yeah.
I'd just like to make one comment, and that maybe a clarification, that this first set of improvements over at Quarry Road will kind of stabilize the month of March for us, and that there are a lot of final kind of Nordic events that occur in March that we're unable to apply for or to host. And that's like a higher revenue month that we're losing, and now we can gain it back in part. So that would be great.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, my son Quinn was with the eighth grade class today, was out at Quarry Road today, and he said he had a blast. So, yeah, good. Yeah, awesome. Any other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to clarify from the memo. So there's an MOU associated with this, right? And we'll see that at the next meeting,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
But this is also time sensitive, as I understand. So, okay. Great. Thank you.
All right, any other questions, concerns? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everything you guys are doing. Thank you. All right, moving on to discussion item.
All right.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was approached by attorney Bill Dubord here in town. He has a client who is interested in donating some land to the city. So you have a map in your packets. These lots are out off the airport road. Two separate lots. You'll see, so the first lot, the larger lot to the south, is about 50 acres. It has an assessed value of $217,000. On the lot to the north, the smaller lot, is another 13 acres and has an assessed value of about $17,000. The lot to the south does border some already city-owned property, but obviously it does also border 95. So they would like to gift it to the city. There's not too many other details other than they want to be rid of this property. So the discussion point here is, are we interested in potentially accepting this property? Do we want more information? Or are we not interested in accepting this property? My guess is if we do not accept this property, it may end up being a tax-acquired situation where we go through the process we just outlined in the previous item. So again, it's a fairly big chunk. It's 50 acres to the southern lot, another 13 acres, the more northerly lot, with an overall assessed value of, $240,000 or so.
Did he mention why he wants to get rid of it?
He did not. He didn't offer any of those details other than his client wants to donate it to the city.
And that was it?
Yes.
Oh, well, alrighty then.
Councilman McCormick.
You were asking, I would like to know a little more information about it. If this is what I think it is, it's a whole lot of wetland. It's out behind Martin's where Walmart used to be. It's been for sale ever since I've been here.
It is a lot of wetlands, that's correct.
That's-
I don't have an exact, accounting, but according to planning, there are significant wetlands there. That's correct.
That's a lot of it right there. He's had that thing for sale for 30 years. And it's all wetland, you can't do anything with it, or if you're somebody that's going to try to do something with it, for every acre of wetland that you fill in, you're going to have to create somewhere else. I don't know that We take it now or we take it later.
It's true.
That's what it's going to come down to. We're either going to vote tonight to say, yes, let's acquire it, or we're going to wait 6 months. The new tax season will come in, and it'll be, we're taking it on taxes.
And I think Randy had a point too he wanted to offer.
Randy?
I just wanted to mention one thing about this property, which would be beneficial for the city. In the past, so our crosswind.
Can you flip that mic? Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Flip that mic.
Turn the mic on.
There you
It
go.
isn't. Maybe it is.
Oh, go to the city staff one then.
So our crosswind runway, the approach is in that area with some of that property. So back probably around 2011 to 2013, we ended up having to pay for a lot of trees in that area to cut them to clear the approach path. So acquiring this property would allow us to do that without additional cost to the city
Right.
to keep that clear. So it would be good for the airport, is all I wanted to add,
Okay.
along
I
with
guess-
wetland banking.
Yeah, sorry, I guess to Councilman McCormick, and Brian, I'd ask you this question. So when we enter in a situation in which we start to acquire it becomes a tax situation, I'm assuming there's a cost to the city at that point for work to be done. I mean, is there a cost involved?
Yeah, well, as I said before, we
Time.
would incur costs of, really administrative costs or, just in dealing with, getting rid of the property. But, I mean, if we were to tax acquire it and sell it, we would in theory get back taxes owed, plus all of our administrative.
Well, I guess my question is just, I guess, if there was a cost involved if we don't accept this as a gift now, right, for $0 from administrative costs, and we go down the route of acquiring it, then there's a cost to acquire it, or,
I think it's preferable to probably just have it gifted to us now if we're
Right.
going to do the
Correct.
either
That's
or,
what I
sort
was
of
getting at.
scenario.
Flexible, makes it easier for us, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
If I can make the,
Go ahead, Councilor Keefe.
well, the point that I want to make is that all of this wetland here is, headwaters to the streams that feed the Messalonsky, and the downstream part of that stream is actually quite a beautiful place in Waterville, and the health of which is to no small extent dependent upon the integrity of that wetlands. I understand, thinking about land from like a tax roll perspective, but from an ecosystem services perspective, that it is of some benefit to the city that property does not get developed, right? I mean, I understand that it'd be nice to, increase our tax roll and facilitate business and usage or whatever, but it seems like keeping an open approach for the runway, for the crosswind runway at the airport is a reasonable use of that property while still maintaining the what I consider to be important ecosystem services that's provided by those wetlands as headwater to the Arboretum stream and the rest of the Messalonsky that's downstream from those that wetland.
Councilor Gagnon?
So there's currently taxes that are owed to the city that aren't being paid?
Not currently, no.
So he's paying his taxes on it?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so we have no evidence to suggest he might not continue doing it?
It was sort of relayed to me that it could go into that situation if the city were not interested in accepting this.
You know what the revenue is per year? Tax revenue?
So, like I said, the overall assessed value is about 240,000, so 240 times our mill rate. 1990.
Yeah. So that's why I don't see it right there.
Yeah. Usually airports will, on the ends of runways, they either have swamps like this or cemeteries.
It's about $4,700. About $4,700.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So we're going to just leave it at that as a discussion and then?
It's, well, I mean, this is,
So-
I mean, the discussion, I mean, it kind of, yeah, this is, he's looking for some direction as to the, you know, the pulse of the council. There's no vote or anything like that on
Right.
this. Is just kind of what's everybody
So if there's kind
feeling?
of consensus that we are interested in accepting it, we'll come back to the next meeting with a resolution to accept.
Done and done.
Good.
Is that, okay? Wonderful. Then at this point, I will entertain a motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.